All right, everybody, welcome to the Seven Figure CEO podcast. Super pumped for today's guest. He is a straight up ninja on the mat and off the mat. We've got Mr. Donovan Rider, fifth degree black belt in Taekwondo and owner of 4 Taekwondo schools in the Charleston area in South Carolina. Just seen this guy absolutely explode over the last few weeks, over the last few years. Donovan, welcome. Thank you so much for hopping on today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so I geek out on marketing. So we're definitely going to unpack a lot of the strategies that you guys have successfully implemented. And you did this through COVID. Not only did you survive, but you thrived through it and ended up actually opening up a school in the middle of a pandemic. So I'm really excited to hear about those marketing strategies. But why don't you just, give our listeners a little history of, yourself and your businesses that you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 4 schools, just like you said. The first location opened October 1st of 2012. So we just hit our 9-year anniversary, which is a good milestone for us. We didn't open the second location until 2019. So, I was a brand new entrepreneur, never owned a business, never did any of this. I was in the world-class athlete program for the Army, training in Taekwondo for the Olympic Games for 2008, 2012. Had a career-ending injury. I tore my ACL and MCL at Olympic trials, actually, and just decided to move home. I love martial arts, and I wanted to teach. So I opened my first school, bootstrapped it, $10,000 total budget, like for everything, and bootstrapped everything from the start. And then just a lot of it was trial and error. A ton of figuring things out. Like I said, no investors, parents weren't entrepreneurs, had no background in it. And then, so 2019, we opened our second location. Things were going really well. And by the end of that year, we were preparing to open our third location, and then COVID hit, but we'd already signed all the paperwork, right? Leases signed. We're in this thing now, so no backing out. So yeah, we opened our third location in June of 2020. And then we opened our fourth location in June of 2021.
So, just 3 schools back to back. You're opening basically a school a year for the last 3 years, which is incredible. And, you said you started in 2012 and then waited until 2019, which to me seems like a really, really smart business decision, because very often when we go to, start thinking about opening that second location, we do it too quickly. And then we realize we don't have the bench strength. What was the, kind of deciding factor that, okay, we are ready to do this and do this in a way that it's not going to take away from our original location?
Yeah, great question. And you're absolutely right. People just opened way too soon. So we just delayed it. We actually kept, I would say, we didn't reopen or open another school, but we kind of reopened multiple times. So our first school was 1,000 square feet. And then about a year of opening that, I expanded and we moved to a completely new location, into a 2,000 square foot location. And then we had been there for about 2.5 years. And then we moved into a 5,500 square foot location. So we didn't open new locations. We just kept kind of expanding and pushing our boundaries, essentially. I honestly never, it's funny, if you asked me 5 years ago, I never wanted to own multiple schools. The thought of having, people that I couldn't put my finger on and not being able to see constantly kind of scared me a lot. So I was under the impression, like, would I rather have 4 or 5 schools that are small, or have one massive kind of a mega school? So our main location, our original one, is still our largest location, and that was the original plan, was just have one massive school and let it grow and make money, and we'll be happy. But something I heard last year, I thought was the best way that I'd ever heard it, was we opened our second location because we had honestly too much staff. Like, we were at the point where, if I don't have another opportunity for these great team members, they're going to go somewhere else.
Sure.
So it was just the perfect timing. We actually had the conversation with a couple of our staff members that wanted to take on more responsibilities. And then there was a school about 4 miles away from where we were that was getting ready to close. And she was stuck in her lease, and she reached out, and it just ended up being a great scenario where we were able to take over her lease, completely gut the building and rebrand it. But it just kind of all fell into place. But I say it fell into place because we took our time.
Yeah, but you took 7-8 years to get there, right? I think the saying is it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I know your second, third, and fourth location is a little bit different business model than your, we'll call your mega school, right? And from somebody that had a 12,000 square foot facility, one of the worst business decisions, bittersweet business decisions, I guess I should say. I know what it's like. My location now is 5,000 square feet, very similar. But I know these other locations that you've been opened up is a slightly different business model. Why? What was the thought process, and how is that different from your original location?
Yeah, so our main location is just big, right? A lot of students. Our after school program at that location has 120 kids. So we
Wow.
transport over 120 kids a day. There's just a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of staff you need to have. It's an entirely it basically, it consumes that staff. Whereas I didn't want to replicate that. I figured out that, if I can get into that 2,000, 2,500 square foot style space and maximize that space, like every square inch is making money essentially. We don't even do office spaces. We have a front desk and that's it. So for us, it was, how can we maximize the space we're using and then also lower our risk, right? So our mega school has 120 after schoolers. Our smaller ones only need, between 30 to 50, depending on the build out of that location. So we just basically went with a doable model, if you will, that we knew we could hit the ground running immediately and put money in our pockets. I'm fortunate to say that, number 2, 3, and 4, we were able to make money in a year. Like in the first year, we're taking owner draws already because we knew that we were able to fill it really quickly.
I love it. Super smart. And I look at, Donovan and I really have developed a friendship over Instagram, I feel like, right? We're constantly DMing each other and like accountability partners, which I think is awesome. I mean, when I think of you, I think of you as a thought leader. So I'm just curious, how were you guys affected by COVID? And you, as the leader of the team, what was the game plan that you presented to your staff to help you not only get through it, but also put you in the position where you're opening another location, which is already being profitable?
Yeah, great question. So immediately, it was scary, right? None of us had ever been in this situation before, and as sexy as it looks on paper, we opened 2 locations since COVID happened. We were not, immune to COVID either. And I tell this story. I purchased my home that I love. We closed on it on Tuesday. And I remember going through the walkthrough with my realtor and saying, this house is big, like it's the home, my dream home. And he's like, are you comfortable with it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Even if my income got cut in half, I could still afford it. So, and whatever would make my income just drop in half, right? So we closed on a Tuesday, and on Sunday, schools closed for all the schools across the country. So our business went from, at that point, we had 400 members on Sunday, and on Monday we had 80 members, like in one day.
Wow.
Like destroyed our business. But what I did was I went to my team and said, here's what we're going to do. We kept all of we let go of all of our after school staff just because we weren't using them at that point. All the Taekwondo staff stayed on payroll. All of my full-timers got paid. No paychecks changed. Everything got, I just thought it was really important for them to know that I took that seriously and that I respected their time. I don't want them worried about their position, in our program. So all of my full-timers still got paid. I completely cut my paycheck. I trimmed everything that I possibly could. Any cost that I could trim, I did. And we just went all in on virtual, which is, what most people did. We went all in on virtual classes and then private lessons as well. So that enabled me, doing those private lessons enabled us to keep all of our part-time staff on payroll as well. And they were busy. I mean, we started, private lessons at 8 a.m. and we ran them until 8 p.m. It was long days.
Wow.
But basically went to the staff and said, hey, look, guys, we're going to get through this. We're in it for the long haul. This is a marathon. This is just a hard part of the marathon, but we're going to get through it. And I would say the number one thing that we did to get through it is we never stopped marketing. Even the entire time. I mean, you run our ads. You guys do an amazing job. I always sing your praises. We never did that. I was like, look, I kind of went into it thinking, this is where the pack is about to get separated. And when people want to, completely contract, we're going to go harder. We're going to go a little bit harder than everyone else. And this is how we're going to separate ourselves on the other end. And we just kept marketing the whole time. We did everything we could, still run the ads, still run the Instagram. Like, I want everyone, like nothing ever changed.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously that was successful. for us at GrowPro, we lost 33% of our clientele, and as me owning a martial arts school, when COVID happened, you immediately go to your budget, right? And you're going line by line on what can we cut out. And the school owners that did end up cutting out their marketing, they realized very quickly, well, there's no way for us to get new students. Your traditional marketing strategies that you would normally have, partners in education, there's no teachers and staff in the building. There is no more partners in education. And really the only marketing strategy that you could leverage during COVID was digital marketing. And once the PPP loans came in and the EIDL loans came in, people realized, like, man, I've got to get back in the game. So I think that's, really great that you saw that. And I loved, what you said, when people pull back, when people contract, when the herd goes this way, we're going to zigzag and go the other way. Talking more about your programs, who is Charleston Taekwondo for? Who's your ideal customer, your target market, and really what separates you guys, right? I mean, there's 15,000 plus martial arts schools here in the United States. What makes you guys so unique?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that we did a couple years ago, again, business changes over time. We never wanted to have an after school program. We didn't want to offer summer camps. Those are things we did not want to do. And I know a lot of people in the industry don't want to do them. But the reason we offer them is because honestly, we sat down and really dialed in. Who is our clientele? Who's our avatar? What are their needs? And how can we fall in love with helping them, right? How can we help their life get better? So for us, we realized that our target market was moms 25 to 40 years old that had children, 2 to 3 kids that make roughly $100,000 a year, that shop at Target, that go to Starbucks, that go to Chick-fil-A. Like, that was our market. And we knew that. And we said, okay, where are they spending money, right? They want martial arts, but not so much for the martial arts, more for like the character development, and that other kids in their neighborhoods were doing that activity. So we're really big on growing via referrals as well. But they also want to know that, they need someone, they're making good money, right? So they need after school care. That's something that person needs. Our avatar needs it. So we offer after school care. When the schools are closed, our parents know that we have a day camp. Like, it's going to happen. It's as sure as the sun's coming up. If the schools are closed, we have a day camp. Summer camps, when schools are out, we're offering summer camps the entire summer. Our parents just can rely on us. And it's funny because a couple days ago, I was at a coffee shop and this mom was in there and I was just waiting in line and she came up to me, and her son and daughter a couple of years ago started in our summer camps. And then now they've become after schoolers, students, leadership program, and parents night out. They spend anything we offer, they buy it. And the mom in front of her group of friends said, this is Donovan, he runs Charleston Taekwondo. And it's just so nice to know that no matter what happens with COVID, without COVID, I know my kid's safe there and they're taken care of. And that's our person. We fell in love with them, and our job is to make sure that their life is easier.
And, as silly as this may sound, because when you start typically when you start other businesses, you start with who your avatar is, but it's something that many martial arts schools don't even think about. And then, if you are not sending out the right messaging to attract those people, then you're going to get people that you might not necessarily want in your school. Now, one of the things that you had just said, you're at the coffee shop. I call that type of parent a brand ambassador, right? They're basically like walking billboards for your school. And that's really the ultimate goal for us, is to get that in their customer journey, to get them to that advocacy level where they are brand ambassadors for you. And whatever event you're doing, they're there, right? They are going to be the first person to sign up. You're doing buddy week, they're bringing a friend, you get new hoodies, they're purchasing that hoodie. And something that stuck out was that a lot of your marketing comes from referrals. So I'd love if you could kind of unpack, do you have a referral program? What does that look like? Do you guys try to automate that? Is it more a human one-to-one kind of thing? Just, can you unpack your referral program?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually something we took from you. So what we do is we call it our Spread the Love campaign, or our Spread the Love challenge. And then essentially what we do is, the best time to get the referral and to get the Google reviews and all that is when they first join, right? Because that's when they're first in love. It's like being in a relationship. It's the best in the beginning, right? So we really push it then via email, via text, and via word of mouth. And that's something my staff knows. we have our staff that run class, our instructors run classes, our managers, the head instructor at each location, they're in the lobby, right? Like they're talking to people to build these relationships and to help us get the reviews and get the referrals. And what we do is essentially, it's called Spread the Love campaign. And they have to write us a review on Google. They have to, give us a live testimonial on Facebook and tag us. And then we have them bring a friend to class. And then once they do those things, they get the t-shirt. We have a custom shirt that only they can get, that when they complete that challenge, you can't buy it. It's funny. We've had parents come in that are, can my kid just buy that? Little Johnny has it and my daughter wants it. I'm like, I can't give it to you. However, or I can't sell it to you. However, I will give you one for free. Here's what I need you to do. Give me your phone and I'll show you what to do. But on top of that, so like I said, we send out emails for that every week. We send out text messages. We touch base in the lobby, and we have posters around all of our facilities explaining exactly what to do. And the cool thing about it is, once they achieve one or two things, so we just start really with a Google review. Once they give us that review, we're like, hey, you're already one step on the process. You want this free t-shirt? Just bring a friend to class next week. Right. And we just kind of encourage them via conversation to finish that challenge.
I love the name of it, right? I call it the brand ambassador program, but I think the Spread the Love is perfect. Thank you so much for unpacking that. I want to kind of dive into offers. So if you go into any of the industry Facebook groups, you'll see at least once a week somebody asking, what offer should I do? Now, I know my thoughts. I do believe that you've got to find an offer that works well for you. I don't think that there's just this is the only one offer that you should do, but I'm curious to hear, do you have kind of like a standard bread and butter offer? And then depending on the time of the year, do you shift and change that? What are your thoughts on what you've seen has worked the best, not to get trials, to get conversions, right? Because we could sell tons of dollar trials all day, but are they going to convert to students, right? Trials aren't paying the bills. So I just love for you to kind of, break that down on what's your process when you're looking at putting out offers.
Yeah, I will say it's funny because a lot of people are always asking what's the best one. And I can tell you from experience, first, they all work. Every single one works. If you position it properly, it will sign people up, I promise. You can do whatever you want. I really believe that. But you got to pick one, and you got to be very adamant about that one. And we've done it all. When I first started, what do? You copy the person that you learned from, right? So my coach did 2 classes for $19 and a free uniform, and that's what we did. And then, after going into the MABS event, they were doing, 6 weeks for $65, and we did that. However, we found that a lot of people didn't enroll. We had about 50 to 60% conversion rate, which meant we had a lot of people just hanging out on my floor that were not going to convert. So I was like, I need to shorten this down. So we went to 4 weeks for $49, and then we did 2 weeks for $49. And that's what we did for a really long time. For the past about 3 years, we did 2 weeks for $49, and includes, we don't actually do a free uniform for a trial. We do a t-shirt. And I'll tell you the reason we do the t-shirt is because, one, they're cheaper, especially right now, right? Like uniforms are very expensive, hard to get. But our uniforms cost us about $12 per uniform. And for our basic student uniform, I could get t-shirts printed for $5. So one, it was a lower expense for me if they didn't enroll. And number two, they're probably more likely to wear that t-shirt out somewhere. They're never going to wear their martial arts uniform to Target, like just because, especially if they're not a student. So we give away a t-shirt. But with COVID, it changed. I was just like, we're still marketing. I need to get as many people in my door as possible right now. So about April of 2020, we switched to a 2-week free trial, and we've done that ever since. So what we do is we give a 2-week free trial. They get a free belt for coming, so that way they can assimilate into our culture, start earning tips, and then we essentially, market to them and try to get them to enroll after that.
I love it. And I love the belt, and I love how you said like assimilate into them, right? I followed, I'm not going to drop his name, but I followed a coaching consultant. It was actually the very first martial arts consulting seminar that I went to. It was inside of their, martial arts school. They put tables on the mats, and they would push 30-day free trials. And ideally, you bring them in and you offer, the 30-day trial. But if you enroll today, you get all of these value stacked bonuses. But for the people that took the 30-day free trial, they had these bright, like neon yellow green shirts that said 30-day free trial on the front. And on the back, it said, help me. And they only got XL as the t-shirt size. So regardless if you are a small or whatever, this is your shirt. And I'm just like, man, that is completely not going to make them feel like they are a part of our tribe. You're just making them stick out like a sore thumb. And I
Yeah.
love the idea of the belt, which is even more cost effective than the t-shirt. And they get to start earning stripes or tips on their belt as well. I love it. Thank you for positioning this in the beginning of saying all of the offers work. You've just got to figure out the one that, works specifically for you.
Yes.
So you stated that, we run your Facebook ads. What other marketing strategies do you guys implement? And I'd love if you could touch on the amazing event that you guys just had, because even though it's not positioned as a marketing strategy, it is a marketing strategy. So
Yes.
Can you break that down?
Absolutely. So just like you said, especially with COVID happening, you couldn't do the face-to-face interactions anymore. So that's why when a lot of people are like, I need to, rein back in my marketing budget, I'm like, no, you need to double down, because this is the only possible way that you're going to get in front of people. So of course we do the ads with you guys, been an amazing experience, but we do the referral campaigns through our Spread the Love Challenge. And then honestly, anything that we can do to get in front of people is where we're going to be at. So all of their community events, we partner with every elementary school that we do after school with. We do their PTA programs. We'll even run parents' night outs for them so we can raise money for the schools. Honestly, like, we do free self-defense seminars for kids, free bully seminars for kids, free self-defense seminars for real estate agents, for teachers. Anything that we can possibly do to get in front of our avatar is something that we're willing to do. And then you're touching on it's been our 4th year now. We did our Kicking for a Cure charity event. We partner with our local hospital, which is MUSC Children's Hospital. And it's just a great thing so we are primarily a kids program, and this is a children's hospital. So we position it as children helping children. And it's a great thing for us. I mean, it's opened so many doors. Our first year, we raised $12,000. This year, our 4th year, we raised $58,000. For a total, we've donated $116,000 over 4 years. And I met with him. I sat down with the president of MUSC Children's Hospital and said, look, I'm going to give you $1 million in my lifetime. Like, we shook on it. I'm like, it's going to happen, and I'm going to make it happen sooner than later. But like you said, it's such a win-win-win. I honestly don't understand why more people don't partner with charities and events in their community, because like you said, it positions us to be the go-to school in our area. Not only are we teaching martial arts, but we're helping the community. It goes one step further. And it's just been a great win-win-win, because the charity benefits, obviously our kids benefit because they get involved. We even found out that a couple of our students are what they call miracle children, or patient ambassadors, kids that had, essentially terminal illnesses that they were able to overcome thanks to the care they received at the hospital. So it's just been such a great experience for our business to partner in our community.
An amazing thing that you're doing. How many boards got broken this last one?
We did 3,000 boards. We probably had about 350 people show up.
Wow. So you took all the boards, and that's why I couldn't order any boards. I'm kidding.
No, literally. Yeah, we did, unfortunately. But yeah, Century did a great job. Shout out to them. But yeah. We took a lot of the boards.
So, I feel like what happens often with school owners is they'll have this great idea, they implement it, but then there's no kind of follow-up. One of the feedback that I've given you is your video marketing is just next level. I mean, anything that you put out, it looks 100% professional. When did you start implementing this kind of what I would consider next level marketing in regards to your brand, right? Anything that goes out on your social media pages, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, it looks like, a multi-million dollar business, right? You would expect something like that from Nike. When was the turning point, and what does that kind of look like, that process of when you are hosting events, how you leverage it to get it out in front of your community?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple years ago, about 3 years ago, we decided to find a part-time videographer that would work with us. And he's basically on retainer. We get 2 30-second videos, 2 1-minute videos, and then some pictures. And we essentially have him go around to each location. It's one of the best things you can possibly do, because otherwise you're always snapping photos and taking videos with your phone. And while that's great, and our staff do that every single day in our facilities, we do want to have that different appearance. We wanted to separate ourselves essentially from the pack, because I really think that to be different in martial arts, it doesn't really take a lot, unfortunately. You just need to put in a little bit more time, a little bit more energy, and a little bit more effort. And like you said, knowing our avatar, they shop at Target, they shop at, they go to Chick-fil-A for lunch, they go to Starbucks. What type of experience are they used to? Not just experience from the staff and the facility, but even from the marketing, right? What marketing efforts are they using? We just wanted to copy that. And we understand what the thoughts that they're thinking about and what's keeping them up at night. And we just touch on those things, and we have a professional videographer help us do that.
I love it. And, some people would look at that and say, oh, well, you've got 4 schools, you can afford to do that. It's really not as expensive that I think some people think it is, especially if you're doing it like, with the retainer and it's project based. It's just, I would say the biggest struggle for us at GrowPro is getting assets from our clients. It's getting content, and it's like, we really don't want to be using stock images and stock video for you. We know they don't perform well, but that means that you've got to provide it, to us. So working with a client like you is, that is the best experience for us, because you understand how important that is. So guys, if you haven't seen Donovan's videos, go check out their Facebook page. Because it's just, like I said, it's next level, which is really cool to see school owners operating on that and leveraging social media the way that it should be. I got some wisdom questions for you. We're going to kind of shift gears here from marketing. I know that you have a partner. Advice for people in partnerships. One of my really good friends that I've wanted to start a business with in the past, I actually asked him to start GrowPro with me, and he's kind of kicking himself in the butt right now for not saying yes. But he always stated partners are for dancing. He was never a fan of having a partner, especially we're like best friends. Could that potentially, end the friendship? Curious about your experience having a partner and any advice for other owners that are in partnerships, regardless if it's martial arts or some other industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with his sentiment. I think you don't need partners. My initial advice for anyone that is thinking about taking on a partner is you could probably do it yourself and hire out for everything else. I think a lot of times we want to take on partners because it's lonely. What we do is lonely. There's a new project that I had someone reach out to me about doing, and it's kind of the same thing. I'm like excited about it, but I think it's more of a situation of being lonely, right? Like you want to do it with someone, so it's not all on you. However, if you are going to have a partner, and my partner's amazing. I have nothing bad to say about him. We are very good at different things, right? Like he's one of my best friends. But we have very different skill sets. He's a people person. He's very emotional. He's very good at talking to parents and inspiring emotion and getting them to honestly want to come back. He's just a happy person. He's always happy. I'm more analytical. I love numbers. I can sit on a computer and crunch numbers all day long. For me, I'm very statistics based, right? Like for him, it's how many students we sign up. He's like, we did great last week. We had all these people come in. I'm like, cool. I need to see the numbers, right? Like I need the numbers. We just are very good at, we just have different skill sets and different strengths. So I would say if you have a partner, make sure that you both are bringing something to the table that is unique, that only you do really well. And then I think it's also very important to set standards and expectations up front of what success looks like in their role and your role. So that way you're held accountable again to the standard, not to the emotion. It's just super important that you understand what you're doing. If you're all doing everything, something's going to fall through the cracks.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that is the perfect piece of advice if you are taking on a partner. And, typically we kind of attract ourselves to people that have similar skill sets. And you've just got to make sure that this is somebody that is bringing something to the table that you don't currently have that skill set in. And speaking of skill sets, I know that you are into real estate investing, and I'd love to hear about that because especially for school owners that don't necessarily want to have multiple locations. For many school owners, retirement isn't even something that is, talked about, thought about, and I definitely didn't want to be 60 or 70, still being on the mat. So I know that a lot of the success that has come from the martial arts schools you have utilized to help build your real estate investment portfolio. Can you talk to me about, why real estate versus, other investment strategies, and what has that looked like for you?
Yeah, so I would highly suggest it. It's worked for us really well. I just think when you think about the market, like the stock market is so volatile, right? Like it goes up, it goes down. Elon Musk, smokes weed on TV and their stock plummets, right? Like real estate doesn't happen that way. So for us, it's just a safer investment, especially with money being so cheap right now. If you buy a house at a fixed cost or you buy a property, a commercial property at a fixed cost, the price doesn't change, but it's going to go up in time. It's going to go up in value over time, but the price won't change. You can charge more over time for it. It's going to appreciate over time. You get the tax benefits, you get the debt buy down from someone else. There's just so many benefits of real estate, obviously. And for us, you're absolutely right. So we want to continue opening locations and then honestly funnel that money into real estate investments, where I feel like that's where our real wealth is actually being created. So as much as we love what we do on a daily basis, the real retirement plan is on the back end for us right now. We have invested some commercially. So I am basically an investor on a lot of properties. I have different friends that bring me deals, and I'll get a small percentage for upfronting the money for it, or a percentage of that money. And I just know that money's working for me. I know it's safe. It's stuck in real estate. It's not going to go anywhere. It's a tangible asset that they can put their hands on, and I can put my hands on. So for us, real estate is the play right now. We've also started dabbling in Airbnb. I actually closed this coming Monday on a cabin up in Lake Lure, North Carolina. I'm really excited about.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. So we picked up a beach house. We're picking up a cabin, and then I'm actually looking at picking up an Airbnb about a block away from my home, believe it or not. So for us, again, it's just number based, right? Everything's a numbers, especially in real estate. So run the numbers, make sure it makes sense, and it's usually a pretty safe bet.
So, you're going to continue opening up schools. What is the vision for that? What is that looking like? Or are we looking at, potentially licensing, franchising? What's the ultimate goal there?
Yeah, great question. So for me, that's a moving target. Life changes, right? So ultimately in the beginning, I want 5 locations. If you asked me 9 years ago, I want 5 locations, because I thought it was just a good goal and my town could support that. We're at 4 now, and I definitely would not be happy with 5. My goal right now, as our town has grown and our skill set has grown, our ability to manage people and business, I think that we can fit 10 inside of our greater Charleston area. So our ultimate goal is to open 1 a year until we get to 10. And then when it comes to franchising and licensing, I'm definitely open to the idea. I would love probably more for licensing. I feel like franchising in the martial arts industry is kind of challenging. I just don't think there's a huge pool of people that are open to being a franchisee of martial arts. In our industry, especially, we like to do it our way, and we like to do it our master's way and our lineage. So I think there's less people open to the idea of franchising. So I'm not sure if that's something that I would like to pursue when it comes to martial arts.
Okay. Now, I know there was a time period that, people are seeing your success online. They get into your DMs like, hey, can I hop on a call? I believe you started consulting, and then you decided to focus solely on the schools. Can you walk me through, that decision that you made? Because oftentimes an additional stream of revenue seems like a great idea. Why did you decide not to continue that?
Yeah, so good question. So when I first started doing the consulting, to be honest, I like helping people, right? We're all martial artists. We like helping people. And I thought it was a great way just to make, like you said, extra revenue. What I found was the way that I was doing it was taking more time. It wasn't giving me energy. And at some point, the money isn't worth it. And that's just kind of honestly how I feel. Even we get that way sometimes with other locations. People will come to me and say, I want to help you open a school. Let's open another one. I want to invest. And I'm like, I honestly don't need the money. Like, I don't want to open a school to need the money. I have the reasons why I'm ready to open location 5. And when I'm ready to do that, we'll do that. But it's not for money at this point.
Yeah.
And same thing with the consulting. I honestly found that most of the people that I worked with, weren't doing what I was telling them to do. They would sit with me on a call for 30 minutes or an hour. They would take all these notes and then they wouldn't implement it. And then 30 days later, we chat again and we had the exact same conversation. And I honestly got drained more than energized from a lot of those conversations. So that's the reason at that point I decided to stop doing it. Since then, I have a couple of friends that are close friends of mine that are school owners that I knew as competitors and that are school owners in the state. And we do Zoom calls together and we chat ideas and I help them with their businesses. And I love doing that because I hold them accountable and they're producing the results. And that to me that gives me energy more than anything.
Yeah. I did this exercise. I took Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and Russell Brunson. They did this mastermind.com thing, and I bought the course. And inside, there's an exercise that Dean has you do where you write out all of your different streams of revenue, and then you rate it from 0 to 10 on what gives you the most energy and what brings in the most money. And that was a very eye-opening exercise for me, because the thing that brought in the least amount of revenue was also the thing that drained me the most. And, doing that gave me clarity, right? And I think that for many school owners, we see this, like, there's no lack of knowledge in our industry. I mean, everything's been written on, there's a training on that you can find somewhere, there's a YouTube video. There's not a lack of knowledge. It's just a lack of execution and, taking action. So what would you say to a school owner that is trying to get their school to the next level, but they just seem like they're like this hamster on a wheel? What's the advice that you would give them?
Yeah. Again, I mean, I think it's just like you said, our business, and people ask us, like you said, in the DMs all the time, how do I get the results? What should I be doing? What does your day look like? What we do is simple. It's very, very simple. Consistency is a superpower, and that's it. We just do it every single day, right? Like, people understand, you want to lose weight, you consume less calories than you burn, right? You want to make money, you spend less money than you make, and you'll be wealthy eventually, right? Like, it's very simple, but actually doing it, the execution is the hard part. And we understand that, and that's the same thing with us, is just execute. So my advice to any school owner out there is, one, you need to have a mentor. I really believe you need to have a mentor, someone that is giving you the roadmap of what do they do every day, right? Like, what does their day look like? How did they get to where they are? You need to have someone giving you some clarity on that. But the second thing is you have to execute. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You can have an entire bookshelf full of books. If you don't read it, it doesn't matter. If you don't execute on it, it doesn't matter. So have a mentor and then just do what they tell you to do.
Now, because I've been following you on Instagram, you have a pretty big hitter of a mentor, and when you hired him, I was like, whoa, that is that's a big deal, because it's not $500 a month kind of thing. And it reminds me of this meme that I've seen online that says, like, $500 client, and it's got this paragraph of just, well, can you guarantee me that these results are going to work, because this is a really big versus a $50,000 investment where the client's like, money sent, done, right? Yeah. Would you like to touch on just a little bit of what because you've had many different mentors throughout, your time period of being a business owner. What exactly are you looking for in a mentor when you go and seek one out?
Yeah, I've had a lot of mentors, especially in our industry, and I have appreciated all of them. I've learned something from everyone. It's been really great. I've used Bedros. I don't know if I can drop his name on this, but yeah, I use Bedros.
Yeah, do it.
He's amazing. And I'll say the reason I chose him, and like you said, it's very expensive. And it's not a lot of, there's no fluff. Like, there's no, you get this course and you get the value stack. Like, that doesn't exist with working with him. It's, if you have a question, ask me the question and I'll give you an answer. And it's really like what I'm paying for is his insight. I get one coaching call per month, and then I fly out a couple times a year to spend the day with him. But the reason I was attracted to him, and I think anyone should be attracted to their mentor, is, do they have something you want? And are they living the lifestyle you want? Not just the business, right? But what are they doing outside of the business? Are they fit? Are they a good spouse? Are they a good parent? Are they giving to charities, right? Like, Bedros was just someone that I identified that, to be honest, like, I feel like he's got it going on, and I would love to have a piece of that as well. And I do believe that proximity is power. So I think that being around him, having conversations with him, getting to know him on a deeper level is going to make me a better leader for my team.
I love it. I've got to ask the typical, if you were to start all over again, what's one thing you would do differently?
I would, good question. I would go a lot harder. I would say I would go a lot harder. When I first started, my first mentor that I had, he was doing $20,000 a month, and I honestly thought that that was like the end all. Like if I could get to 20K a month, life is great.
I've
I never
made
have to
it.
work again. It's over. Like life's amazing. But that was the bar that was set for me, and that was the bar. Um, Being completely candid, our goal right now, our monthly target is 250 a month. Like that's our target. I think knowing that there is a next level and just really pushing for that. And we kind of talked candidly off the call before this, and it's one of those. Our schools are growing faster than ever. Not, I mean, maybe because obviously we're getting better, but I think it's because the level is higher now.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I very similar situation when I was first getting started, right? We all have this kind of like milestone number that we think, oh, if we hit that, then that's it. Well, and I like the term that you use, moving target, right? Because that it always starts to move, and it's usually going, further and further. Before we wrap up here, any additional nuggets of wisdom or insight that you'd like to share, to whether it's martial arts school owners or just a business owner themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, guys, how you do everything or how you do anything is how you do everything, essentially. So one thing that I've seen in the past 2 years that we've opened these new locations, I knew that like I had to level up. My skill set as a leader more than anything had to level up because I'm not teaching classes so much anymore as I am just leading my team. So I would say how you do anything is how you do everything. So make sure that you're not just on the mat, like you're not on when you're on the mat. You need to be on when you're at home with your kids. You need to be on when you're with your spouse, and ultimately when you're by yourself. So I would say, do everything at the same level, and everything will increase together as well.
It reminds me of the Jim Rohn quote: "Work harder on yourself than you do your job." And I truly believe that if business owners just focused on that, on leveling themselves up in all of those other areas, it's going to trickle into their business. I was talking to my personal assistant yesterday, and I gave her a new book to read. And I allow my team to read while they're on the clock. And she was like, I get the weirdest feeling when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm allowed to read. And I'm like, yes, I want you to read. I want you to level up, because the second you level up, the business is going to level up as well. So I love that sentiment. Donovan, I really appreciate your time. I love seeing your success online. And guys, don't be afraid to share your success, right? I see that all the time. Some people are, a little nervous about that. You never know who is watching you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank
Awesome.
you for having me today. I super appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much, man.